I hit rock bottom, December 2004. Bought a Tony Robbins book that was suggested to me, and Tony suggested a couple of ideas that really changed things for me. It was number one, the past does not equal the future, and number two, if a thing is possible, it's within reach. I was in an early six-figure income because I'd worked my arse off and I'd finally found stuff that worked. I didn't hear words like mentors, and in the early days, like, you know, the business section of Waterstone's bookstore was a shelf. The self-help section was another shelf. Today they've got floors dedicated to these things, you know. So back in the day there wasn't as much access to information, and my point is that the world's not really set up to encourage us to go and be free thinkers and successful. It's set up to have us take our place in society, be good taxpaying little boys and girls, do our part and help the machine function. It's the matrix.
Yep.
And even with the team, we had a meeting yesterday with my full team. I had them all over at the house, and the ethos and the kind of values that I was instilling is that we go to war for our clients, because our clients are not just people who pay your wages. This is a woman over here who started a business, who's got kids to feed, who's got school clothes to buy, who wants to enjoy their life, but they've got payroll to meet, they've got expenses, they've got clients going out of business, they've got people letting them down with bills. This is a human being with hopes and dreams who's had the guts to actually step up and do something. And we owe it to that person who's put their trust in us and their investment in us to fucking fight for them.
Yep. Hello and welcome back to the Built Different podcast with your host, Stephen Pettigrew. My guest today is Billy Farrell. Billy's a serial entrepreneur. He's been in business for over 20 years and has had massive success in marketing, business, and in bringing big events to Scotland. And I've been working with Billy quite closely, and he's helped me build a number of products and services around my personal brand and for some of the businesses that I work with. And I thought it'd be great to bring him on because Billy's got a host of different tools and strategies that can help you grow your business. We delve into quite a few interesting topics. I'll leave it at that, and with all that said, let's get into the episode with Billy Farrell. Billy, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you on, my friend. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
I'm good. A wee bit cold in here today though, isn't it?
I know, could do a whiskey and a heater.
We're just talking about whiskies and cigars.
Yeah.
Maybe the next time we do this we should do that instead of wars.
100%. So now we're going down the Joe Rogan, Elon Musk style route. That was a joint, that wasn't a cigar.
There was a guy I was watching the other day actually smoking a cigar on Joe Rogan. He was coughing his guts out. He had never smoked a cigar before. That'd probably be me.
Of other places to do it as well.
Aye.
You know, on the Joe Rogan show.
Exactly.
That's not a good show.
So, Billy, most of my audience will actually be aware of you already.
Okay.
As most of my audience will be aware, you're in marketing, you've been in business for 20 years, very visual, very vocal on socials, which we'll get into. A lot of good topics I think we can cover today. But rather than me kind of giving a huge spiel on your backstory, if you could kind of summarise who you are, what you do, and we can kind of kick off from there, that'd be great.
Cool. Okay, so to condense this story, Billy Farrell, been in business 20 years, did not come from any sort of successful background or money or anything like it, and came up very rough. And after wanting more for life but not really believing it was possible and knowing that was even an option, I hit rock bottom, December 2004. Bought a Tony Robbins book that was suggested to me, and Tony suggested a couple of ideas that really changed things for me. It was number one, the past does not equal the future, and number two, if a thing is possible, it's within reach. And nobody had ever said that to me before. I grew up a product of my environment, being told what I can't do, what's not for people like me, how money's evil, people who have got money have ripped somebody off, they're con men, they're drug dealers, they're this, they're that, because that's where I came from. And coming up like that, there was no big belief in possibility or business or anything like that, but I saw so much going on in the world around about me when I would deliver takeaways with my dad and so on, and I thought, why not us? But I never really knew it was for me, or thought it could be. So when I read Tony Robbins, that was the start of a beautiful journey, I say sarcastically, because the last 20 years have been tough. I have been all the way up to the top, back down again with a thud, probably 2 or 3 times now. But I'm grateful for every up and every down, and for all the lessons that it's taught me. I've been involved in lots of different companies over the years. I am currently involved in several different businesses, publicly and silently. And our main point of focus is Mayhem marketing. Think marketing, think Mayhem, because that's what we're all about. And Stephen, you're a client, so maybe you can give a wee on-air testimony.
I was just going to say, for total disclosure, we've been working together for maybe 8 months now.
Yeah.
And you guys have obviously helped me quite a bit when it comes to put myself out there, because this whole podcast is part of that, actually. Put myself out there. And some of the tools, strategies and stuff that you guys have helped is fantastic.
I mean, for people who want to be on top, be number one, be seen, be heard, disrupt their industry a little bit, and actually get business, that's what we're all about.
Why the name Mayhem? You've kind of touched on it straight away, so why the name Mayhem?
Because that's me. I could have called it ADHD marketing, do you know what I mean? But Mayhem's good because it's a word that implies a little bit of chaos. It implies drive, speed, production, movement, energy. Mayhem, create chaos, create madness, but also in a very professional and organised way. You know, we're very serious about what we do. We're very committed to everything on the crazy level and also on the detail level and the practicality. So we're not just about going out and 10xing and being wild and crazy and throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. No, we're very strategic, very focused on how we produce results for people. But at the same time, when you are not upsetting people, you're probably not making enough noise, as you know. And when you start making a little bit of noise and getting out there and being seen in your space, you are bound to create some mayhem.
Totally. And you've not just stumbled into marketing. You've been doing this for a long time, haven't you? In different guises. And I mean, I first became aware of you when you had the property business, and you guys were everywhere. And I think that's something that we're obviously working on together, you and I, for my business. But talk about that kind of early stage with the property side, because was that your first proper marketing venture with the property business, doing the marketing side, or were you doing the marketing stuff before? I know you've been in business for 20 years, but was that the first marketing venture?
My first 4 years in business landed me back in a call centre, and I took a job on for a year and had to regroup. I went bankrupt 2008, 4 years after starting, because I didn't have any guidance. I didn't know what I was doing, and in many ways there's still a hell of a lot that I don't know what I'm doing, because we're always learning and growing. Even the guys at the very top of the game, right? So for me, it's been a very rocky journey, So what was your question again? I totally forgot.
So the property business, that's going to be a theme of this podcast. You'll go off in tangents.
So, the property business, was that the first kind of main marketing company? No. So what happened was, after 4 years of fucking it up, I took that job in O2 selling broadband. I used the time to regroup and try and figure out what is it I want to do. And I went through the same journey that many people watching this will be familiar with, where I was trying to figure out, should you follow your passion? How do you even know what your passion is? What's my purpose? What am I supposed to do? What makes me happy? What makes me sad? Is it profitable? And you've got all these different voices and sources of advice and everything else. And I thought, my God, what do I actually do? And I even went to one of Scotland's top life coaches, very well-known guy. And I says to him, I need your time. I need you to help me figure out what my direction is. And we spent a day in his house, and he got pissed off. He was like, I can't help you. And I was like,
are you going to leave?
What's going on? Because I've kind of paid. But what was staring me right in the face all along was the fact that I didn't have any real point of focus on what I wanted to do. But what I loved was actually getting involved in other people's things and making them work. I liked making things work. I liked being like a mad scientist behind the scenes and creating things that help other people get wins. So, after 2009, 2010, me and one of my best mates growing up, he'd went off and done the property thing. I'd found myself starting to learn more about marketing and getting into the online world. I was in an early six-figure income because I'd worked my arse off and I'd finally found stuff that worked. And he'd done the same with property. So we had a couple of wee light bulb moments. We realised that I could find great deals and he could monetize them, and we went to work for there, and that grew. And I was involved in that right up until 2021 when I was bought out, took my exit.
So you've been through, you mentioned this a couple of times, you've been through a couple of setbacks, but successes as well. Been managing to build that business, all the success you had with the 10X tour and stuff, bringing Grant Cardone across like that. even back then, that was like a massive, massive thing. And then exiting businesses and helping other. I know you're very keen on the mentorship side as well. Before we touch on the actual mentorship that you do for people, which obviously again you're helping me with, you mentioned Tony Robbins. Was there any other kind of influences early on for you, mentors that you had that you worked closely with that helped you along?
Always, mate. Yep. Always. So in the early days, I didn't hear words like mentors. And in the early days, like, you know, the business section of Waterstone's bookstore was a shelf. The self-help section was another shelf. Today they've got floors dedicated to these things, you know. So back in the day, that there wasn't as much access to information, and you had Darren Hardy, he was coming about then. You had Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, some of the old school greats. And I would listen to all these guys and I would take it on. But I think at the start I became maybe a sponge for content but lacked the application. And I don't know if that was a fear of failure or what it was, but I would stumble along and try my best and convince myself I was trying my best. Yeah. But then when I actually started to really learn the value of mentorship, then I started investing in it, you know. And to this very day, I mean, Sarita, who's my co-director in Mayhem, who's sitting on that couch, I messaged her last night to say we should go to this event happening in a few months. And I know that event will be full of a lot of people who are just starting their journey. I've been through the mill. We've generated tens of millions of pounds to different companies over the years. Why the hell am I going to an entry-level event? Because I want to be around what's current, what's trending, what's new, and I trust the guy running the event enough to know that he's going to deliver the goods. So I'll never stop investing in my education, my growth, my mentorship. Never stop. You know, so when you say has there been some people over the years, many. Some up close, some for a distance, but you know, you've got a choice. You're driving down the road, you can listen to the radio, the football, or you can listen to something that actually stretches your mind a little bit and helps you grow.
So Sophie goes off her head at me in the car because every time we put the car on, it's a podcast, and she's like, just get the tunes on, you know.
But there's a place for that.
Aye, and there is. It gets you in the right frame mindset sometimes. But I'm the same. I can't listen to like legacy media anymore. It's just, you know, obviously all that stuff in the news about how corrupt and poisonous it all is.
Oh, we know it's fucked, but the problem is you're getting the story about how it's fucked from so many people who are spinning their own narrative.
Totally.
As opposed to more independent media, which is where you're going to get a lot better info. Like, for example, the Joe Rogan Donald Trump interview was absolutely brilliant.
Did you see though that like YouTube, you could actually find it on YouTube? Like, you couldn't search for it on YouTube. Apparently, it was supposed to be trending, and there was like 30. I'm making this up. 31 million people had watched it after 3 or 4 days. And you couldn't find it anywhere. It's crazy. I
think it's like 50 million or 56 million or something now. But it's the same, like, even like people like Andrew Tate, if you search his name on YouTube, somebody showed me this a while ago, if you search Andrew Tate on YouTube and you find a video and then you go back to your search history, it's gone. So see if you get to YouTube search history and it shows you the last things you search for, like, you know, world's strongest man, this, that, the other. That Tate or that search for Tate or Trump or whatever, it's gone. It's wiped it. Interesting, eh?
Well, even just the last 24 hours, we're recording this, Mark Zuckerberg came out and he's changing all his policies around free speech on Facebook or Meta. And you mentioned Andrew Tate as well. Like, he is, we're talking about marketing, he's like, whether you like him or no, whether you believe in what he says, he's an amazing marketer. He's come out in the last 24 hours trying to run for Prime Minister in the UK. It's like, what?
It's brilliant.
But great marketing, isn't it? Which I'm sure you'll appreciate.
You know, of course I appreciate it. And this is the thing. There's a lot of people who are very close to people they don't like. Right? So it's like, well, that person's an idiot, or they're an arsehole, or they talk a lot of shit or whatever, right? But you're missing the point here, right? Why is it that we could go to the pictures and watch a film about Napoleon, right? And be inspired by some of the things that he'd done. It's like, oh, how he pulled that move and that strategy, that campaign and whatever. You're like, wow, that was cool. But back then, if you were living in fucking Denmark or Poland or whatever, and he was on your doorstep trying to fuck shit up, you'd be like, he's an animal, he's a monster, he's an evil dictator, he's the, you know. So like, it doesn't matter who you're looking at. There's always things we can take, and that might just be how not to be.
Yep.
It also might be how they pulled off a certain campaign or a certain strategy or a certain approach to business or life or war or whatever. So it's like, take what you can for whoever you can and use it for good in your world. That's the way I look at it anyway. So whether you like Andrew Tate or no, you also don't have to like everything that somebody says to appreciate some of what they say. It's like some people think, oh, it's black and white. So if you follow that person, you must agree with everything they say. No. You know, some of the says nonsense. Or some of this person's policies are not admirable or you're not in alignment with, but a lot of them,
There's elements you are, definitely.
Absolutely.
And on that, I was, again, listening to, I was watching a Ricky Gervais thing over the holidays, and he's obviously super, and he hates all the woke stuff. And he was saying something along the lines of nothing I say is offensive. It's just the fact that you're perceiving it as offensive. You're taking offence. I can't give offence, and that just goes back again to the Trump stuff. Andrew Tate, all these people, you can choose to take offence to that, but that's your choice. And again, you don't have to believe in everything or agree with everything they say.
Mate, you're a business guy, right? So you know the drill here. See, when you are so focused on what you're doing, you've not got time to be offended, to take offence, to get caught up in the noise, to get pissed off about bullshit, drama, chaos. Like, no, you're too focused on your own stuff. A lesser version of that is, you know, you'll very rarely ever see somebody who's genuinely successful make a negative comment on another person's social media.
True.
You just don't. It's the average mindset, it's the masses, it's the wannabes, it's the critics, the drama queens, it's the run-of-the-mill everyday civilians who are making all this noise and commenting and bullshitting and bitching, and it's the masses. So, you know, you take us back to the Roman days, right? And I was having a chat with somebody about this in the fucking dungeon of the Colosseum a couple of months ago. I was talking to a couple of people about this, one of the tour guides and a few other people, about back in the day, what they would do is if there was a famine or a drought or people were struggling because of the war efforts or whatever, the Roman people would start kicking up and causing drama and start throwing shit in the street, right? So what they would do is they would put on games. They would entertain them. They would distract them with 30 free fucking days of games where you can go in and watch people kill each other and
sedate
animals
them
get brought up. Sedate them, and it's still going on today. It's still going on in today's world. And the man in the arena, as I like to talk about, or the people in power, or the higher level thinkers who are focused on their mission and what they're creating, you know, we're sitting and we're looking and we're watching the masses and the crowds and the people making the noise. So I guess a big question to the people watching this or listening is, are you a little bitch who's making noise and bitching and commenting and moaning and attacking people's social and getting involved in drama and gossiping and all the other bullshit today? Or are you focused on your own mission? Are you achieving things? Are you pushing forward? Are you failing while daring greatly? Or are you winning while pushing forward?
Oh, one of the things that it's little bitches. One of the things that does my head at this time of year is all these people come out with their New Year's resolutions or goals, but you know for a fact they don't take any action, and it'll be the same situation they're in this time next year.
Next year's my year.
Aye. This time next year they'll set their new goals, which are actually the same goals as they tried to achieve this year. And it's just that constant merry-go-round. They don't actually take action. So obviously both you and I mentor people and help business owners to grow, scale, and you know, all the rest of it in their business. But one of the things that actually does my head in is the lack of people that are action takers. They say all the right things, but they don't actually do anything. It does my head in. Is that something you see often, particularly in your mentorship kind of part of business?
So let's touch on that word mentorship for a minute here, because I fucking hate it. Right? And I know you feel similar because we've spoke about this. There's a lot of bullshit mentors out there who've never won big, lost big, came back, created it, and it's like the fat personal trainer or the fucking 19-year-old life coach. It's come on, pal, you know, like, or the person who won the X Factor writing a book about their life. It's like, mate, you've only just fucking done something. Go and live a life and then write about it and stop cashing in. And that's the problem, is a lot of people just want to cash in. They see an opportunity for a quick buck and they take it. Whereas your form of mentorship is you actually get involved in the companies with the people you mentor, and you mentor them for financial gain for them and for you. With me, it's more a consultative mentorship, because I take people who want to actually get in the fight and go and achieve bigger things, and they just need that little bit of accountability.
Yep.
And neither of us do this as a full-time profession. We work with key people who we resonate with, who we know we can really help. If that person isn't making a shitload more than what they're spending very fast, we're not doing it. So just wanted to highlight that first. But in terms of people not taking action, I don't work with people who know of that mindset.
How do you vet them?
I get them to fuck if they don't.
Quick.
Aye, absolutely.
Cut loose.
I do that side of things, the consultant side of things, more because I enjoy it than anything else, because it gives me purpose. I've had battles with mental health all my days, and I struggle a lot of the time. Even a few months ago, I was in a very difficult place mentally, because that's just me.
Yep.
Right, and I'm very vocal about that. Oh, aye, I can talk about that all you want, but I like to support other people in their journey, and be around folks and see them doing well, and work with people who think like me. You know, like, who is it I was talking to? A client the other day, and we were talking about the importance of your environment and who you're around. You know, growing up, you are a product of your environment. I was talking to my daughters about this. I've got 4 wee girls. The oldest one's 12, the youngest one's 7. And I got a picture on the wall the other day. Did you see this on Instagram?
All I've seen on Instagram for you is cats.
Kittens.
Kittens,
so
sorry.
I put a picture up on the wall for the girls, and it's got a poem on it. It's got a picture of me and them, and it's those 4 little girls who follow me.
I did see that. Yeah,
right?
I did.
And I had to explain it to them first, because I knew that the moment I put that up, they'd be like, what are you talking about? We don't follow you. So I spoke to them about it, and I says, you know, I'm putting this on the wall as a reminder to me to be the best dad that I can be, knowing that you guys are there and you're watching and you're listening and you're learning. And we were laughing about it, and they were saying, we don't follow you. I says, okay, so let's imagine you never left this house. You never knew the outside world. How would you learn how to think, what to believe in, what was good, what was bad? Where would you learn that for? He says, you. I says, exactly. I says, right now you're learning life from your friends, your family, your parents, more so your immediate peer group and your family. But then as the world gets a bit bigger for you, the world outside, that's when the world fucks you up, when you actually go into it properly. Right? But, you know, you're learning from the world around about you. You're modelling the beliefs and the ideas and the values of your school teachers and everything else. So you are by and large a product of your environment until independent thought starts to take over. So, you know, as you grow up as an adult, don't think that shit hasn't stuck, and that the adult you is not making decisions based on the safety mechanisms of a 5-year-old. Right? And don't think for a second that you can be around negative, bitchy, gossiping little bitches in your adult life and not be influenced by that.
Totally.
If the people around you are thinking bigger than you, working harder than you, and they've got big goals, big ideas and all the rest of it, that's a good crowd to be around. But see if they're no, don't think for a second that's not influencing things for you.
You don't want to be the biggest guy in the room. You want to be the smallest guy surrounded by winners, because then you're going to level up, aren't you? See, you touched on something with social media there just very briefly. Did you see, just as obviously a dad, right? So am I. You've seen Australia brought in like a ban on social media for up to 16, I think it was. What do you think of that? Is that something we should do here? Because I think about the influence that social has on everybody really, but especially young generation, and even on X, although I love Elon Musk to an extent, there's some crazy shit going on X right now. You just open your feed and there's a lot of crazy stuff. Do you think that's a clever strategy for them? It's something we should do here
for the kids? Yes, absolutely. Something I've been saying for years on a similar note, and we'll come back to that in a second, is this one causes some upset when I say it sometimes, is I feel like in order to have a social profile, you should have to submit some sort of identification. Now that's when all the conspiracy theorists, not now conspiracy, I love a good conspiracy, and most of it's no conspiracy, it's fact, right? But a lot of
don't go down that rabbit hole.
a lot of people will start saying, you're submitting your ID to these sources, and people know who you are and all that. They know who you fucking are anyway, right? Shut up. Shut the fuck up, right? Oh my God, so a social media platform saw your driver's license. What are they going to do with it? What are you worried about? Shut up.
They're already pitching to all the different products and stuff, and you can't reverse that.
You're already being marketed to based on your interests and your likes and dislikes. God, you go on TikTok and start watching a couple of videos on a certain subject, you're being fed that over and over, right? So one of the things that I've been saying for years is that in order to have a social profile, you should actually be able to say, this is who I am, and stand by your word, because then you're accountable to the shit you say.
Yep.
You can't hide behind user 2349 with a picture of a Doug abusing somebody online or being nasty or horrible. Now, I get that some people who've been in abusive relationships or who maybe don't want to be as vocal and all that sort of stuff have an issue with this sort of stuff.
Yep.
I get that, but that's a caveat for a second here. In general, I think that you should not be able to create fake profiles because it just allows the shitebags and the cowards of the world, the nasty people, the pedophiles, the horrible bastards of the world, people doing no good, to have a place to actually talk and communicate with the wider world, right? Which is bad. In terms of that, kids having access to social, you know, having my 12-year-old with all her pals at school on TikTok, and I don't even know what the age of consent is for TikTok, right? But it's no 12, right? But when every one of your pals in school's on it, and people say stupid things like, oh, the whole world's gone that way, she needs to be up to speed with it, right? And then if you're maybe like in an environment where you're not living in the house with the other parent, there's different ideas, different ways of doing things, different value systems, permissions, all the rest of it. So it can be quite difficult. But the level of online bullying that goes on for kids, to me alone, makes the platforms something that should be a minimum of, let's say, 16. Right? Because for a start, we're living in a world where even adults can't focus anymore. Right? Adults can't focus. We're living in a, look at the dating world, swipe, 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 right? You can't even walk up to a lassie in a gym or a bar and say, how you doing, because you're offensive or under space or harassing
there might
them.
Be a camera pointing to you as well at
exactly,
that point, so.
And then you're the fucking next viral video online for harassing people in the gym. You know what happened to the good old days of chatting people up? By the way, you look good. Oh my God, I'm offended, but for a fucking compliment. Right? By the way, that's not happened to me, so I'm just saying that, right? You know. But anyway, you're laughing at. So we're living in this crazy ass world, right? I don't even know where I'm going with this. But adults can't even pay attention. Prime example right now, right? What, quick fire, swipe, 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 or social, boom, 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 doom scrolling. 3 years have passed and you're sitting there fucking watching a lot of shite online. Where's it going? What are you doing? All you're doing is going down these dark rabbit holes where you're filling your head with all sorts of nonsense that doesn't contribute to the quality of life, makes you shit your parent, right? And doesn't add any value to the world, right? So if this stuff is taking us to a state of absolute distraction and an inability to focus, what's it doing to young minds who are just learning their way in the world?
And they're not getting trained or coached or, you know, even you might call it mentorship again, they're not getting shown how to use it. And if they use that early years as part of even the school curriculum, you know, this is going to be part of your life no matter what. So let's actually teach you how to use it properly.
Mate, it's damaging, right? So you're in your early 30s, I'm 41, right? The first time I saw porn was typically how many people would see porn as a young guy growing up in Glasgow. Somebody found a magazine in a bush, right?
You couldn't open the
and
pages.
You pick up the magazine, some of them are stuck together, and you're looking at it and you're going, mine doesn't look like that, right? Or, what the fuck is that? I didn't think it looked like shit, right? Is that what a woman looks like?
The first introduction to that, though, was page 3.
Exactly, right? But then you find these dodgy magazines and you're like, what the fuck, right? And then all your mates are like, I know what they look like. Everybody's shiting themselves, right? Whereas nowadays, all a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old has to do is go to POR in Safari or whatever, right? They'll look up this website and now they have this fucked up, warped idea that we know as adults is all bullshit and staged. And they've got this fucked up idea of what sex is supposed to be or what it looks like or how you're supposed to do it. You know, I saw a clip online recently. It's
this can go very
it could,
the slippery slope.
Do you know
here.
what? It's actually important, right?
I like to bring someone on it.
It's two young people and they're sitting on a park bench and they're sitting beside each other and she's like that. Do you know, I'd love to take it to the next stage of the relationship. And he's like that, rim job. And she says, I was thinking about a kiss. But, you know, okay, cool, right? But this is the thing. Young people are being fucked up by these fucked up ideas of what porn looks like, what sex looks like, what sex looks like. They're being screwed up by the idea of what the perfect body looks like. They're being screwed up by the idea of how you should live in the world, what you should have, what success looks like. Look, mate, success is subjective.
Yeah.
It's a subjective experience based on what makes you feel good. But unfortunately, social media is telling people what they think should feel good, what is success, what is sex, what is happiness, what the perfect body is.
Yep.
Mate, people need to detach. And I'm talking about fucking adults here. So how the hell is a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old supposed to deal with the world when it's gone so fast? And when we went to school, the fighting, the bullying, the gang stuff, all that stopped at the school gate.
Yep.
You went up the road and you went home and you played your computer.
That was it.
Nowadays, you're sitting there at 10 and 8, there's online groups starting where people are abusing you and giving you shit. No.
I definitely, and like even playing video games and stuff, and it's all connected to all the world, and they're getting abuse from all sorts of freaks, you know. It's constant. It's a 24/7 thing now.
Aye, so to answer your question, no, kids shouldn't be allowed on social.
Good. I can't even remember the question, so I'm glad you
We've got
remembered.
a lot of learning to do in the world before the world starts to fuck us up, and the world will fuck us up. So let's at least give people the chance to grow. But let's be honest, we're not exactly living in a world that's created for our best interests, are we? We're certainly not living in a world where entrepreneurial spirit is... It's encouraged, or on the face of it, it's encouraged, but we still live in a world where the tax system's absolutely fucking brutal.
Aye,
to
it's
the point
getting
that
worse.
people are leaving, and it's getting worse.
Yep.
Running a business has never been harder.
Yep.
It's like we say that all these things are doable, but then it's actually a really big squeeze. And unless you've got a really strong business mind and a good model, it's quite hard to get ahead, you know? And even the school system isn't exactly set up to encourage us to be free thinkers and win. On the face of it, we're doing mindfulness today, kids, and we're focused on this today, kids, and here's some cool things you can learn.
Yep.
On the face of it, the school system was set up in the industrial age to encourage people to to prepare people for factory life.
Aye, prepare little workers, little factory workers.
Sit down,
Yep.
stand up, stay in line, get ready, ask permission. Yes sir, no sir.
Aye,
Tea bags fucking full, sir.
Don't learn how to think. Just memorise this thing out of the textbook. That's the answer. Just memorise it. It's memory.
And a lot of it's not changed.
Aye.
I speak to people who are homeschooling their kids, and they can cover the standard curriculum in a shitload of less time than the average school system can. I know there's the socialising aspect, I know there's the learning how to think aspect, but my point is that the world's not really set up to encourage us to go out and be free thinkers and successful. It's set up to have us take our place in society, be good, tax-paying little boys and girls, do our part and help the machine function. It's the Matrix.
Yep.
And
It's
we're
the
sitting
Matrix.
outside it, and hopefully the people watching this are sitting outside as well.
Yep. Right, I'm conscious you've not got too much time, so let's wrap this back to business for you, Will. So I guess we could keep going down some rabbit holes, which I enjoy, by the way.
It's fun.
So obviously the new marketing venture, and you still do the mentorship thing. What type of people are you now looking for? Because obviously you can help people to improve their personal brand, build funnels in their business, build new strategies where they can actually stand out from the crowd. What kind of people are you looking for? What's it going to look like over the next couple of years in the new venture?
So you say new venture, so obviously before with TMD. And TMD, we shut the company down. We decided to take a different direction because ultimately you live and you learn, and we built a very high level company, very big company, very fast, with a lot of clunky moving parts. And sometimes when you realise, wait a minute, I've lost the passion for this. This is too big. The kind of clients we're taking on are not the kind of clients that we want. And then, you know, even 2024, one of your biggest clients was liquidated and put them way back. And in a 6-week period, they went out of business, and then 4 other retainers went out of business, costing us almost £500,000.
Wow.
And when that happened all in quick succession, and you think you're good, and you're investing funds elsewhere and building different things, suddenly you think, shit.
Something you didn't have any control over whatsoever.
Nah, you don't, you know, and I own my shit. And I can look at anything, I can look at a given week or a given business or anything and go, here's where I fucked up, here's where I could have done better. Last week I sent Sarita a review of my 2024 and I was hard on myself, you know. So we got to a point with that business where we thought, you know what, we're at a pivot point here where what I actually want to do is cut the team down by 2/3 and focus on these things. But to do that is pretty harsh. So we decided to just Phoenix come down, start back up again.
Yep.
New company, new energy, new brand, new identity.
New culture.
We took clients like yourself over. We satisfied and made sure everybody else was taken care of. I helped rehome many of the staff that we were working with and set several of them up in business. We've done it all right.
Yep.
You know. So the new company, what our focus is with Mayhem Marketing, when you think marketing, think Mayhem. That's exactly what I want people to think, right? The kind of clients I want, I'm not one of these people who says everybody's your client, because not everybody's your client. But if somebody's watching this and they're sitting there thinking, do you know what? We are not doing enough marketing. We're not out there. There's more market share that we could be getting. We want to be on the map. We want to be converting more business. It's out there for the taking, and we want a piece of it. Our competitors are making more money than we're getting. They're out there, and it doesn't have to be social or ads or both or whatever. It can be a whole blend of different things, but the point is, most people have absolutely no idea what's best for them, because you're the expert at what you do, and we're the expert at what we do.
Yep.
Which is why you can't just go to our website and pay for a service either. What you do is you have an onboarding chat with myself, Sarita, or one of the members of the team. And in that chat, we'll do a full diagnostic on you and your company. Very friendly, easy chat. We'll review your website, your social, your ads, your marketing, things you've tried, things you've wanted to try, things that other people are doing in your industry. We'll have a full look at that. We'll rip it apart. And then we'll go, do you know what? Based on all the stuff we've done, here's what we would suggest you do.
Yep.
Right? Oh, wait a minute. You've got all the money in the world to spend. Cool. Well, here's how we do it. Or wait a minute, you've got a limited budget. Okay, well, here's the low-hanging fruit. Let's get you earning fast.
Yep.
So
Try and
there's
get a
two
return on
sides
that
to
quick.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's two sides to it. There's the resources for marketing, and then there's the outreach. Resources include things like your branding, your funnels, your landing pages, webinars, video sales letters, different resources that can be used to convert traffic. Then there's the outreach part, which is the traffic. That's your social media services, it's your ads, it's your personal brand building. It's all these things that drive the traffic to the resources that convert them, right? It's an art, it's a science, and that's why we always make sure people have got a full understanding of what we're suggesting first before we move forward. So if there's somebody listening to this and thinking, do you know what? I need to level up my game, I need to get some ads going, I need to do something, but I don't quite know what. Or even if they do know what, mayhemmarketing.com, have a chat with us. You know, I'm not interested in just taking your money because you're willing to pay it. I'm only interested in people who I can go to war for, who I can back and support.
And it's a mindset thing, and I heard this a while ago. People need to think of marketing not as an expense but as an investment.
That is, aye.
Because it is quite common for people when they're in hard times to cut their marketing budget.
Yeah.
It's one of the first things to do. But if you're getting a return from that marketing, then why would you? Because it's like the old thing, if you spend £1, you get £2 back, you keep putting more money in.
The problem is, mate, a lot of people deal with shitty marketing companies.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bash any competition because we don't have any, because we are the best at what we do in the way that we do it. There's a lot of great marketing companies out there. There's a lot of people that are very niche focused and focus very well on specific things, and they're doing a great job. But what we know is that if you're having a conversation with us, I think that, or I know that, when I flew over to meet Grant Cardone in his offices in Miami, or when I fly over to a ClickFunnels conference, when I go to international events for marketing and business and all the rest of it, I get a lot of energy and a lot of ideas for the original sources that create a lot of this stuff, right? So you've got something happening over in Texas, or you've got Tony Robbins' event here, or you've got Grant Cardone's 10x boot camp in Miami. Then you go over, you attend these things, you get all fired up, you come back to the UK and you realise this country's fucking tiny, nobody's marketing aggressive enough, and the whole world's open for you to take advantage of. But because we live here, based on the very conservative thinking of a lot of people here, people market their business very conservatively. They hold back, they don't speak their truth. I'm not saying you have to be like me or you. I'm just saying
Be yourself,
people are not marketing aggressively enough. And even if you don't want to be a face on social, you're probably still not marketing your business effectively enough through your advertising, through the resources that you're putting out there, right? But with the right advice and the right guidance, you can be. So the way I look at it is most people are not marketing aggressively enough. Most people don't even know what that looks like. And if they did, if they actually had the guts to do it, guess what? they could dominate their space, because I want you to be the first thought on people's minds when they think of what you do.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, I need my car validated. Oh, we go to this person. And they are the first thought in your mind. So whatever business somebody's in, I want you to be the first thought on your potential client's mind when they think of what you do. I want you to be everywhere, your business to be everywhere. I want you to be the number one on SEO, on advertising, on social. It's like, you might love me, you might hate me, but you can't forget me.
Can't ignore me.
You know who I am.
Yep.
You know? So with that kind of mindset, if people want to actually get in the game to any degree beyond which they're at right now, have a chat. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it, because the one thing I like about you guys, obviously you're authentic, but you're nimble, you know, on your feet. So if there's something that isn't quite working, because it is a bit of research to begin with, if it's not quite working, we move fast and go a different direction, knowing that that's going to work. So anybody that's needing a kind of rebrand, improve their personal brand, do their socials, do their ads, Billy and the team at Mayhem are very competent at what they do. They'll help you to achieve your goals. So I definitely recommend doing that.
Thank you. That was one of the biggest challenges as well with the old business, because it was such a big beast and there was multiple departments, so many people and large scale projects that you're allocating time and resources to. You know, you talked about being nimble and light on your feet. The challenge we had sometimes was that if somebody needed a quick turnaround or a quick landing page put up or something done fast, it was like, no, we can't just jump, because we've got this big corporate client paying us X, or we've got this thing here paying us Y, or we've got meetings all over the place, and it was too much.
Yeah.
Whereas,
too many kind of projects kicking about at one time, and let's I'm going to say it, you've not told me this, but staff can slow things down as well. And you know, I don't know if that was the case with you guys, but when you've got a big team and they're not all on the same page, that can slow things down as well. So
I mean, you've got lots of different teams and different management structures.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean you can't turn things around from within, but when you've lost your passion for what you do and you're not enjoying going to work every day, and you get a couple of bits of bad luck, and then things start getting tight and difficult and whatever else, you need to look at that and make a real good choice, because this is business. People think it's all smooth sailing right to the top. Well, it's like, I read a success book, I went to this event and my life was changed, and now I'm a testimonial on a fucking stage so that somebody else can be sold the next dream, right? I'm not saying that's no legitimate, it is, but statistically, most people will fail. Most people will fuck it up, right? And you look at folk like, you listen to a podcast where you've got Elon Musk, right? This is what I find interesting. Elon Musk will sit in there and he'll talk about how he sold his shares in PayPal for 180 million or whatever it was, something like that. So then he takes that 180 million and he splits that money between SpaceX and Tesla, I'm sure, right? Definitely Tesla, I'm sure it was SpaceX as well. And he goes all the way down to the point where he's sleeping on his pal's couch, borrowing money to get by, from having had a $180 million buyout. Amazing, right?
See, same story with Richard Branson. He was on the verge of collapse with Virgin Records years and years ago, and I'm sure Jeff Bezos had, like, if he didn't get some kind of level of investment at the 1999 or something, Amazon would not have lasted. Mate,
it's the same with everybody. Like Richard Branson, two things for him. He says, number one, that if you want to become a millionaire, start as a billionaire and then start an airline. And the other thing was that he basically skirted the edges of bankruptcy until he became a billionaire. Right? So it's interesting when you look at the world round about us, right? And you see folk quoting this stuff and being inspired by this stuff. And yet, Stephen, let's say you go and you make a mess of something, or something doesn't work out, or you need to pivot, you'll be criticised for that, right? But the reality is, in business, we have to pivot. Some of the smartest decisions you can make is to go, do you know what? Shift.
And there's a bit of back and forth about should you ever quit, never quit sort of thing. But if you know something's not going to work, you should pivot quick. That, actually, as you've kind of said there, making that quick decision is actually, what's the saying? Indecision is worse than a wrong decision.
Aye. I may be wrong, but I'm never in doubt. Just move. Just go. Get your facts. So Andrew Carnegie says that the person who cannot be trusted to make a decision after they've got all the facts can't be trusted. You know? Something like that. I like that. So, you've got to pivot in business. You've got to sometimes get to a certain point and go, right, shift gears, move, pivot, lighten your feet. And, you know, sometimes I'll see people making plans in business and they'll take a minute to make their plans. And other people are like, why don't you just move? Why don't you just go? Just start. Right, sometimes there's a place for that. But sometimes if you're going to launch an all-out assault, you know what direction you're moving and get the plan right first, but then don't fuck about.
Because
it's a balance.
In that marketing game, you mentioned poor businesses in the sector, like you can spend money quickly not knowing what your actual strategy is and then thinking, oh, marketing doesn't work. I've spent a couple of grand here, 5 grand there, and I didn't get anything. But it's because the strategy wasn't right in the first place.
And that's how we got to this subject, talking about poor marketing. A lot of people will invest in marketing companies that maybe don't have that level of interest or success. So, I've taken a personal involvement with our clients. And, like me and you, we've started some brilliant conversations recently. We started a coffee before this and a good meeting about what we're doing. And even with the team, we had a meeting yesterday with my full team. I had them all over at the house. And the ethos and the kind of values that I was instilling is that we go to war for our clients, because our clients are not just people who pay your wages. This is a woman over here who's started a business, who's got kids to feed, who's got school clothes to buy, who wants to enjoy their life, but they've got payroll to meet, they've got expenses, they've got clients going out of business, they've got people letting them down with bills. This is a human being with hopes and dreams who's had the guts to actually step up and do something. And we owe it to that person who's put their trust in us and their investment in us to fucking fight for them. To fight for them. Right? So it's not just about, well, I've done my job, I put the social post out. No. Was the social post effective? Did that video work? Did that campaign convert? Because if it didn't, we're not charging them another penny to sell them the next fucking thing. No, what we're going to do is we're going to get to work and figure out how we can make it work, how we can pivot, how we can shift gears, how we can be light on our feet and nimble and make it happen, right? Whereas when you deal with some other companies in marketing, I think the big question to ask yourself if you're talking to a marketing company is, how much an actual interest have they took in me and my business? I want to know your pain points. I want to know your clients' pain points, what motivates them, what your clients' hopes and dreams are, what frustrations they've had with their industry, why they came to you, at what level of motivation are they to actually make a change. I want to know all of it. I want to know their age, sex, location, demographic, interests, all of it. Because if I know the market intimately and so well, then when that person finds your services, Stephen, I want every word, every video, everything you do to fit a certain customer avatar so well
to speak to them
that they feel like this was for me.
They built this for me.
Arrived. This was for me. That also means 90% of the people that land on it will go, what's this all about?
But that's fine.
But the right people will land and go, that's it. So a lot of people lose faith in marketing because they make bad choices in marketing, whereas the way we do it is we want to know everything about you and we want to get it right.
Which you've got a track record of doing. Billy, it's been brilliant having you on. We've definitely got to do this more often. We're obviously working together anyway, but I think maybe no cigars and whiskies, but maybe in the future. Just, you've mentioned that a couple of times, Billy, but if anybody wants to get in touch with you guys and the team at Mayhem, where should they head to? Mayhemmarketing.com. Find us on social, or find me on social at I am Billy Farrell. Awesome. Easy. Perfect, mate. Well, thanks for coming on. See you next time. Pleasure, my man. Pleasure. Thanks for listening to this episode. As always, guys, if you found value from this, please remember to hit subscribe and share with someone who might get value from it. If you want to carry on this conversation, the best places to find me are at Stephen Pettigrew Investor on LinkedIn and also on our brand new website, monopolycapital.com. I'll see you soon.